What's up, guys? So I'm finally getting started on my potting soil mix. So what I like to do is I like to take the old mix or whatever I had from last year that's left over, and I start with that. Normally it's because it's really dry, still separated. I do keep my stuff in a shed. That being said, tends to get bugs in it, mostly ants. So before you decide to do what I do, maybe want to put a glove on, check, go through it finally and see if there's any living bugs in it. If so, that's cool for to go into like the big beds, but I don't like any bugs to start off with my seedlings. I got lucky this year. I didn't see any bugs in it. The things I like to add to. So what I'm using this year, along with the old cheap stuff from last year, this is the only thing I could find. I got this from Tractor Supply. I mean, but whatever kind of seed mix you want to use, it doesn't have to be organic. I'm not a big fan, or like one of those people who lives and dies on the wall of something being organic. I don't think that matters. Also need to add, I use worm castings. This is just worm poop. It's some kind of fertilizer. I tend to use worm castings when it comes to my seedlings. I go to something like black gold, which is cow manure, dried up. You can't really smell it. It doesn't smell that bad, so don't go ew. But black gold is what I use when it gets to the big beds to keep, to get the big beds turned over, or for big pots. Perlite. Sorry, perlite. It doesn't matter what. Sorry, I had a call, but I tend to use perlite. It doesn't matter what brand you use. Just get those little white granulars in there, so it helps with the drainage of your plant. Also helps with creating a little bit of space so the roots can get in real deep. With the idea that adding these kind of perlite and seed mix, what you want, the reason why you're using seed mix or some kind of mix like that is because what's in it is going to allow for it to hold moisture a little bit better. It's also going to allow for better drainage. That means that not just for draining, but also for growth of your plant. You want those roots to be able to get real deep. That means you need to have loose soil, like not very compact, and allow for you to grow stronger, bigger root system. This is what my mix looks like now. It's still pretty dry. Now this stuff takes a while to get, you see it, but my mix is crazy good, because this is what my mix looks like after adding a perlite. You really don't know when it comes to the worm casting. I kind of eyeball it. Let me show you what the mix looks like, or the organic seed mix or starter mix looks like without any of those additives. So if you see, it looks mostly like just a lot of peat moss. Like it's long fibers, you can see. Not a ton of perlite in there, versus, I'm grabbing this out the bucket right now, what mine looks like. You see how there's more perlite in that one versus the other one. It's also drier because, like I said, I blended from last year. So what I like to use to start my seeds are these little trays. This is from last year. It's pretty clean. I mean, I could have washed it a little bit better, but I sprayed it down, wiped it off pretty good. I also just put soil in here, realized I didn't have enough, so I had to mix some up. This gives you grids. I tend not to really follow the grids as much because you end up losing a lot. The biggest problem I have with this is that once you go to pull some of them out, if the soil isn't nice and dry, it'll come apart. But also it comes with this, the bottom area, and you just set it in there. When you want to do bottom watering, you put in something else, water it from the bottom, then you put it back in this tray, and it'll allow for everything to drain out. So it's kind of cool. I got this at Home Depot like a few years ago. Grid trays, I'm actually just gonna plant all one thing on this one. I have bigger trays already in my grow room, but yeah, this is how I get started. I like to just get my bucket together. As you can see, I have, trying to set this up as simple as possible. Let me just show you my setup real quick. So I'm using a floor mat on top of my outdoor. If you ask them where's the rest of the padding, I don't even have any next to me. I just pulled out enough cushion for this one area because we've been getting winds of like 50, 60 miles an hour. Go back to my last video and I talked about how this was pushed back like to the end of the pad. And by pad, I mean like the horse, the stable, whatever things I have down there, it pushed my whole damn place and that's got to be like 500 something pounds. But yeah, the wind grabbed it, moved it back. So what I end up doing is just pouring a bunch of my mix in the middle. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spread it out with my hand and get it as even as possible. And then I'm gonna soak it. I'm gonna let it soak as much as, because with this peat moss, a lot of time it looks hydrophobic at first when you get started, meaning that water kind of just beads off of it. So you gotta keep applying enough water. Eventually, when the water does get soaked into the peat moss and all the other material, it actually retains water really, really, really well. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Let this soak up, go through, grab my seeds and plant them. You don't have to see me do seeds because they vary depending on what kind of seeds they are, but normally you just, quarter of an inch, something like that. Plant, good to go. Guys, I'm feeling motivated. I'm feeling great. I hope you are as well. I love you. Let's get this season off started right. Have a nice day.